Hi, Chuck here again. In a previous video on writing, I talked about where writers' ideas come from, and I did touch on sometimes one of the things that inspires authors to have ideas or inspires them just to sit down and write is the location they're writing in. Some authors are lucky enough to have an office, some have some other kind of creative space that they dedicate to just to writing. Some, do it on the train on the way to work. That's not an exaggeration. Peter V. Brett, who wrote the Demon Cycle fantasy slash horror novels, very famously, wrote his entire first novel of that cycle on his phone. Commuting to work. I've had dedicated creative spaces in the past. I think the last time I had one where I rented a house with my then wife. There was a tiny little room. It was too small even to have been a spare bedroom, so Lord knows what it was actually for. But I had a small desk and my laptop in there, and would often go in there. And this is at a time when I was really pumping out a lot of fiction, and that's because I would come home from work, and after I'd done the duties of the day, and put my son to bed, and made dinner and all that kind of thing, I would go into the room and just write, and that would go from usually about 8 o'clock at night, and it could go till 3 in the morning sometimes. Since then, it's mostly been at kitchen tables that I do my writing, and so on and so forth. You might have noticed the table that I do shoot a lot of my TikToks from, which is an antique table that's been passed down through my family. I inherited it from my mum when she passed a couple of years ago. I think it's 1860s, possibly 1880s. Beautiful piece of furniture, but we use it as a dining table. Myself, my partner, and the bonus kid. And that's what I've been writing at. However, we are rather excitingly having our double garage in the house we recently bought converted into offices, which are going to be for me, it's going to be for writing. For my partner, it's going to be for her editing business. So temporarily, as of yesterday, my in-laws came up to our place and helped us move a lot of stuff out of the garage. Most of it is now sitting in what was our lounge room. So there's the desk that I've recently purchased from Facebook Marketplace. Lots of boxes of books and DVDs and so on and so forth there. There's a Victorian antique armchair that's been colonised.
Mine now.
Yeah, fair enough. And I'm going to show you now where we are going to be popping the offices in, which again I'm really excited about. We've signed the contract, we've paid the deposit, a lot of planning went into it. Excuse me. Of course I haven't left the garage door open, but it's this big 2-car garage at the side of the property. We think it was added. This house is from, we think, the 1980s, possibly older, but added to. And there used to, we think, be a swimming pool here based upon the fuses that we've got. This is around the back. And keep in mind, up until yesterday, this garage was absolutely chockers with furniture and the like. Just going to turn on the light there. There's an antique dresser we're getting rid of, treadmill for me. I know I look like I eat all the pies, but I do try and keep healthy. All of my DJ equipment for the moment, temporarily sitting up on stacks of books and so on and so forth. But yeah, 7 by 6 meters here, 2 offices here, in self-contained. Little walkway here. We're going to put a doorway through here into the house so that when it's raining out here, as it often does right through winter, where we live, we'll be able to access it from here. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll have it all done by end of November, and then we'll do things like pop in shelving and pop in all of our collectibles and things that we love and what have you, and then I'll actually have a dedicated creative space to call my own. So yeah, I'll certainly post updates on that. We're expecting another couple of weeks before the work starts because there's a couple of permits that have to come through. But yeah, I'm really excited that about all aspects of it, really, about having a creative space to actually go and sit in and make myself write. Because as I've suggested in previous videos, the hardest thing I find is to actually make myself sit down and write. Once I'm doing it, I'm right in there, and it's pulling me away from my computer. That's the issue. But actually, sitting down and writing when there's distractions like the post or doing some gardening or finishing some cooking or what have you, yeah, yeah, it's awful. I'm terrible at it. So I'm hoping that'll kind of force me to develop some better habits like I used to have. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I will post updates as construction continues, if that's the sort of thing you're interested in.